morning. Welcome to First Parish in Needham, Unitarian Universalists. Isn't it great to all be here and there, wherever you are? My name is Tad Staley, and I've been involved here at First Parish for about 15 years in a variety of capacities. And most recently, I've been involved with the work of the Strategic Planning Task Force, which I'll get back to in a minute. So it's said there are three pillars of Unitarian Universalism. The first pillar is that Unitarian Universalism is covenantal. It's not creedal, which means we're here because of our commitments, not coerced by guilt or deity or belief. Our covenant, which is our commitment, is to embody the values of respecting the earth, co-creating beloved community, and affirming the inherent worth and dignity of all people. The second pillar of Unitarian Universalism, I'm just going to say UU, is that it's pluralistic, not fundamentalist. And that means that whoever you are, whyever you are, however you are, wherever you're from, we're ever so glad you're here. And the third pillar of the UU faith is that this is a living tradition. It's emergent, it's evolving. This means we strive to stay relevant to both personal and public matters, because these aren't the same as they were 5 years ago, or 5 decades ago, or 5 centuries ago. And this brings me back to the Strategic Planning Task Force, which was formed a year ago around the simple question, how can we remain relevant in 2024 and beyond? The task force spent the first half of the year last year listening, and it gave us a pretty solid foundation on what our strengths were, why were people here, what our weaknesses are, and what are some of the challenges we face currently. In the second half of the year, we held brainstorming sessions on the kind of activities that people wanted, which of course is a way to stay relevant. We also raised meta-level questions like, why are we here? What's our purpose? Who do we serve? And what language should we use to describe what we're doing here? The result was a report that was delivered to Parish Committee and has been made available through Bell Notes. You can always see one of us if you haven't gotten that, and we can find a way to get it to you. The report includes many specific suggestions from the brainstorming sessions and beyond, and it includes a handful of sort of higher level, meta level suggestions or directions. But the first of these was, which the Parish Committee has approved, is the formation of an innovation team to continue this dynamic sort of ongoing inquiry to stay relevant. Again, this isn't a once every 5-year thing. You know, 5-year plan is obsolete in month 2, I think, right? So this is the whole idea, is to keep this ongoing and to see, you know, again, how we stay relevant. We see this team as focused and working with existing committees and everybody, and focused on sort of 3 primary objectives. How do we attract new people? How do we retain people that are here? And how to sustain the whole enterprise, how to keep it going. This team will be key to ensuring that we stay vibrant and relevant in the years to come. I think it's going to be really exciting. It's going to be dynamic. It's going to be kind of pushing us in a way, obviously within the bounds of what Parish Committee accepts and so on. But this is, I see this as sort of an agitator, you know, what could we be doing? So if you're interested in this, members of the task force, several of which I see here, several of whom I see here, will be at the social hour. We'll have a table. We'll be happy to chat with you about this, what we see as the mission of this team. And if you're interested in the team, we'd love to hear from you. Meanwhile, for this morning's proceedings, the order of service is online in the QR code in your pews and on the website, uuneedham.updates.church. This morning's service and many past and future services are available on YouTube at our First Parish in Needham channel. And you can learn more about all that's happening at First Parish by going to our website, uuneedham.org, and signing up for our weekly email newsletter or by following us on social media. And again, welcome.
As we light our chalice, symbol of the Unitarian Universalist faith, the start of Black History Month, we read responsively words from multiracial UU minister and military chaplain, Reverend Dr. Rebecca Savage. I invite you at the appropriate moments, as in your orders of service, to say together with Dara the response, "Justice is our prayer." We gather together today with sacred intention to declare that
justice is our prayer.
we affirm in covenant with the beloved community that is possible. Not here, not quite yet. The seeds have been planted time and again, and we remember all those who went before us that made beloved community in our time a dream that could be realized.
Justice is our prayer.
May our time together continue to water the budding trees of our diverse interdependence. May our time together give air and nourishment to the parts of our collective spirits that need to grow and thrive in order to embrace equity as a known way of being.
Justice is our prayer.
We affirm in covenant with the beloved community that is possible. May it be so, and let us worship together. I now invite forward members of our DEI committee to light a special second candle of remembrance and repair. If you're on the DEI committee, please. Oh, you're coming. Okay. It's happening. Come on up. Yeah, sure. Please. Why not? Maybe she can. I'll let her shake. Okay, perfect.
We are members of First Parish's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee, and part of our work is remembering our congregation's history of African enslavement and making efforts towards repair.
We light a candle in remembrance and repair for those who were enslaved by 18th century Needhamites and first parishioners, including our founding pastor, and we honor that there also have been innumerable Black residents of Needham in the past 250 years who were not enslaved and who made important contributions to our town.
The names of the enslaved that we know are
Boston, Homer, Ishmael, Jack, Jenny, Jethro, Jupiter, Phoebe.
Phoebe, Primus, Prince, Rose, Sylvia, Terrence, and Violet. We remember them.
Thank you all. We remember them and look to a future of recognition and repair. Our opening hymn, Wo Ya Ya, was written by Ghanaian drummer Sol Amarafio and was popularized in the 1970s by Osibisa, a musical group of Ghanaian and Caribbean musicians. Our hymnals arrangement comes from Black UU artist Yese Barnwell of the all-women African-American a cappella group Sweet Honey in the Rock. Please rise in body or in spirit and join in singing Wo Ya Ya. The lyrics are in your orders of service, on screen, and at number 1020 in your teal hymnals.
We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know within, and we will get there. Heaven
In Unitarian Universalist tradition, the covenant is a set of promises the membership of a congregation strives to honor with one another and out in the world. Whether we participate in our community online or in the building, we strive to live these promises every day. Please say along with me the words of our First Parish covenant as in your orders of service. We gather as a loving community to encourage and comfort one another. We gather as a diverse community to support each other in our search for spiritual truth. We gather as a service community to live our beliefs through action and care for our world.
I'd like to invite forward the Sklarowitz family to share their testimonial about how First Parish makes a difference to them.
Hi, we're the Sklarowitz family. I'm Anne Marie, and this is Sherry, Casey, and Raphael. Being at First Parish makes a difference to our family for many reasons. I love coming to a place where I am surrounded by people with values that I share and practices that I can learn from. I love bringing our children to a place where we are surrounded by others who care about them and want to help them grow into the people they are meant to be. I love that our community is committed to the awesome UU programs for our youth, like Our Whole Lives, Neighboring Faiths, and Coming of Age. Our family has felt comfortable here ever since we started in 2015, and we are grateful for this community.
Good morning. So I wanted to share that I really have appreciated coming to a place where I feel myself so intentionally welcomed and also feel like my family is so intentionally welcomed, and that has really meant a lot to me moving to Needham. And also, I think the thing that really has stood out to me the most is how the team at First Parish, led by Reverend Katie, is so committed to a relentless quest for social justice, and I feel like the team at First Parish is really in line with my values, and it's something I really appreciate every day.
Hello, my name is Casey Sklarowitz, and I've been going to First Parish ever since I was 2 years old. One thing I really like about First Parish is Song Squad. It encourages children to get up on the stage and sing, to be a part of something. It builds confidence and self-esteem, two things everyone should have. I also love the RE program and think of it as a safe and fun space for my feelings, thoughts, and opinions. I'm so happy to be a part of this community.
That was just the best. That made me so happy. Sorry. I just want to say that. Good morning. I want to apologize for my craggly voice. I've been testing, but I just seem to have a chest cold that won't go away. So please excuse that. I might not be as melodic as usual. Today we were supposed to read an incredible book. Honestly, one of my favorite books. I pre-ordered it last year, called Big by Vashti Harrison, and you will hear that book. But this morning when I looked on my shelf of children's books, it was not there. It just wasn't there, and I searched and I was digging. And I was looking because I was thinking, okay, it's Black History Month, and part of the reason why we had chosen Big was because it was written by a Black woman, featuring a Black character. It was so wonderful, right? And then I realized what I was doing was I was trying to fill the spot out of need as opposed to grounding myself in the moment. Something I tell our kids to do all the time, and just know where I am. And so I'm gonna read you a board book today. I'll make sure it's at social hour because it does have a sing-along portion, but I don't trust it to carry well over the microphones. But it is written by a non-binary author that goes by the name Mother Moon. And they made this book, Bad Day, Good Day. Bad day. I'm having a bad day. It might turn around, but for now, I'm gonna wear my biggest, saddest frown. Look at that. I feel like this duck could probably frown harder. I'm gonna feel all my feeling and hope it leads to healing, because everything I'm dealing with has really worn me down. So please don't tell me to cheer up and don't tell me to smile. I promise I'll feel better. I just need a little while. But the best part about this book is we talk about our bad day, but then we talk about good days. Good day! I'm really digging being me today. I'm in the groove and things are going my way. And if I face a challenge, I'm gonna say, hey, I got this. I woke this morning, I was feeling fine. I woke up feeling like the stars aligned. And I'm one of them, I'll show how I shine. Hey, I got this. I'm really digging being me today. I'm in the groove and things are going my way. And if I face a challenge, I'm gonna say, hey, I got this. I woke this morning, I was feeling fine. I was feeling up like the stars aligned. And I'm one of them, and I'll show how I shine. Hey, I got this. There are times when things just don't go right. And it feels a lot better sometimes to be frantic and crazy and trying to fix the problem in the perfect way. But sometimes it's a bad day. But I will say being here at First Parish, it always becomes a good one with all of you. I appreciate you for your grace, and may it be so. Thank you, everybody.
As our children follow Sarah Elizabeth to their religious exploration opportunities, please join in singing Long Time Son as in your orders of service and on screen.
May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on.
Good morning, everyone. This is the time in our service when we share the joys and concerns that are very close to our hearts and our lives. For anyone not able to be in the building on Sunday mornings, I'm receiving pre-submitted candles at candles@uuneedham.org, and if you can get them to me by the Friday before the service at midnight, I would appreciate it. If you're participating on Zoom or YouTube, you may type your candle into the chat box to be held by the community watching with you. We have 2 pre-submitted candles. The first is from our staff, and it is for the community of East Palestine, Ohio. Many of you might remember the train derailment that occurred a year ago yesterday. And our hearts are holding them in love and concern as their lives are still impacted as they clean up from all of the chemicals. And we light our candle of care and concern.
Hi, everyone. Reverend Katie, she and hers. I am going to light a candle of healing and hope on behalf of our former assistant music director, Kate Loftus-Camp. Kate called me just a handful of days ago and asked me to light a candle for her mother, who was in a pretty bad car accident down in Florida about a week and a half ago, and has had a number of solvable but still very stressful medical complications since that accident occurred, and is still in the hospital. Kate spent the whole last week down there with her mom. I think that her brothers are taking shifts as well, but it's really hard to be so far away from her when she's worried about her mother's health. So please, she asked if folks at First Parish could keep her whole family in their hearts and prayers. She knows how much you all love her. We do all love her and her wonderful mom. So thank you. We light this candle for Kate and her mom.
And now for all the joys and sorrows. Oops, sorry, I was skipping ahead. If you are here in the building and you have a joy or a sorrow that you would like to share, please do come forward, light a candle, and then state your name. And if you feel called to, please share your pronouns and briefly describe what is on your heart.
My name is Lily Whitman. I am feeling better, so I'm glad I'm back. I've been watching the news about the Newton strike like Katie did last week, and I'm so happy that she did. I watched the entire service in the afternoon. And I'm happy the kids go back to school tomorrow. Another thing is, I have some good news. Two, especially. My sister just found a bigger place in New York City. And they're not on contract yet, but they will be. Another thing is, my oldest nephew, Saul, who is almost 8 next month, just got into a good special needs school in New York, and I'm so appreciated it, and it made my day. And my dog has bonded with my mom.
Sorry for all the coughing, like tickle in my throat. Susan Commuty. My longtime 32-year friendship with Florence Maddox ended on Thursday when she passed away. She was 93. She hadn't eaten for 2 months, so she was just completely emaciated, and it was time, and it was peaceful. I got to sit all afternoon with her that day. I left at 3, and she died at 6:30. So this is a new experience for me, being so close to death, somebody that I've loved very much. And it's going okay.
Hi, I'm Jackson Rawback, he/him. I'm lighting a candle for 2 reasons. One, concern for my best friend who's been having a lot of knee pain, and it's really making him hard to get to work and stuff. And I'm lighting this candle in hope of his healing, and I'm also lighting a candle for the same reason Lily did. My dad was part of the teacher strike, so he gets to teach tomorrow, so that's great.
I'm Susan McGarvey, she, hers. I'm lighting this candle of care and concern for a very dear friend, my friend Lynn, who lives in Hartford, Connecticut. She has MS. She's had it for a very long time, but In the last month especially, she's taken a really bad turn. My daughter and I went to visit her yesterday. She has one daughter. We were friends way back in the early 70s when our kids were little. And it's just very hard to see her. She has the kind of dementia symptoms where she's demanding and angry and yelling at her daughter all the time and her caregivers, and the situation is really fraught, and I feel for both Lara, the daughter, and Lynn, the mother, so appreciate your concern.
Hey everybody, Laura Nevitt, they, she. Both my parents have been in and out of the hospital lately, having to go into the ER for different things. But my mom's in the hospital right now. She had a procedure the other day and her pulse has been going up, and so they have had to keep her in there to keep it down. So just to keep her in your thoughts. She's usually very talkative and I can't get her off the phone, and now I call her and she wants to stop after a couple minutes. So pray for her body and her spirit to heal. Thank you.
And now for all the joys and sorrows that remain silent in our hearts and in our lives, and for the prayers of our neighbors near and far, we light a final candle. May the peace of this sanctuary be felt too, wherever you are participating from, as we remember that though we are worshiping in different times and places, we are all still deeply connected. And now as we enter our time of prayer and meditation, I invite you to relax into whatever seat you find yourself in. It has been a very hectic moment for some of us, or morning for some of us, so I just feel a need for a few deep breaths. So please join me. Breathe in and out. And one more breath in and out. Please join me in the spirit of prayer and meditation with these words from Haitian-American UU minister, Reverend Marguerite Belizaire, as we continue to honor Black history and Black lives in our Sunday services. Spirit of life and love, spirit of resistance, spirit of generosity, that which serves as our conscience in this work that we do, to dismantle white supremacy, to empower the marginalized, to insist that Black lives matter. We have been angered, we have been saddened, we have been pushed to the brink once more. We are also inspired and seem resolved to do better this time, to not simply get to the other side of this moment, but to get there morally healthier, to get to a safer space for Black bodies. Spirit, help us to understand that we each have a role in justice work, for our liberations are tied to one another's. Give us the clarity of mind to know what our individual part is in the struggle, that there are many ways to protest injustice. Help us to find our way and commit to it. Spirits, we ask for guidance. Send us strength and endurance. Help us to give our all to this and hold nothing back, for precious lives depend upon it. We will be imperfect. Rest assured that we will mess up over and over again, and we must do it anyway. May we summon the courage to tear down this system of injustice and get busy creating a world community with justice for all. May it be so. Amen. Please remain seated and join in singing our meditative response, the first and third verses of We Are Climbing Jacob's Ladder. The lyrics are in your orders of service, on the screen, and at number 211 in the gray hymnals.
We are climbing Jacob's ladder. We are climbing Jacob's ladder. We are climbing Jacob's ladder. We are climbing on. If I stumble, will you help me? If I stumble, will you help me? If I stumble, will you help me? We are climbing on.
This congregation has been supported by the volunteered time and treasure of its members and friends since its founding in 1711. This is the time in our service when we, the modern stewards of the church, offer what we can to build and sustain the congregation and the world we envision. This month, our collection will be split 50-50 with the Unitarian Universalist Urban Ministry. The UU Urban Ministry was founded in 1826 by Greater Boston Unitarian congregations to support the Reverend Joseph Tuckerman in his ministry of empowering Boston's most underprivileged residents while transforming the spiritual consciousness of their most privileged neighbors. In 2021, the Urban Ministry adopted a new mission and vision statement, declaring that they work across race and place to dismantle racism and white supremacy culture and to advance racial, social, and economic justice. They envision a greater Boston where all people live with freedom and dignity and have equitable access to resources and the opportunity to shape the present and the future. To donate to today's offering, you can use one of 3 different methods as described in detail in your orders of service, using text to give, donating through our website, dropping a check or cash into the collection plate, or mailing a check to First Parish. Whichever way you donate, please remember to specify whether it's meant for the annual pledge. And if this is one of your first visits to First Parish, we encourage you to fill out a yellow card in your pew back and drop it in the plate, or fill out our online visitors form at uuneedham.updates.church. And many thanks this morning to Lynn Rockless for our beautiful flowers in memory of her parents, Benjamin and Eleanor Rockless. And thanks to all of you for everything you are able to give to help support and sustain this congregation and the world we envision. May the ushers now please come forward. I deeply appreciate Sherry, Anne Marie, and Casey speaking about how First Parish has made a difference to their wonderful family and who have in turn made such a difference in the life of our congregation. They told a beautiful story today. And it was a story. I imagine many of you could guess how it was that Anne Marie and Sherry and their children ended up on the chancel today, but we didn't say it out loud, did we? That I invited them, that I asked them specifically to speak about how First Parish has made a difference to them, because that's the budget drive theme this year. And we're at the start of budget drive season, and that we gave them a ballpark time frame within which to speak, and that we had a frank conversation about the over-under of their kids participating, with the hope that they would, because they're so delightful, and I'm so glad Casey and Raffi did. I set up the expectations and the goals for this particular telling of their First Parish story because I know how powerful stories are, and financial pledges to First Parish ensure that the lights stay on. We didn't turn on the lights today, did we? That's hilarious. Let's do that. They do work. To ensure that the lights stay on, and that I get to keep working here, which I do think is a shared goal. Euro-American English professor Dr. Jonathan Gottschall has published 2 books on humanity as a storytelling animal. He's proposed, a little cheekily, that rather than our species' scientific name being Homo sapien, wise humans, we more accurately could be known as Homo fictus, story humans. We are surely not always wise, but he argues we are always and uniquely in the animal kingdom attracted to and influenced by stories. In an interview with Scientific American, Dr. Gottschall said, "In the same way that plankton isn't aware that it's tumbling through salt water, as far as we know, we humans aren't aware that we are constantly moving through story, from novels to films to religious myths to dreams and fantasies to jokes to pro wrestling and children's make-believe. The human mind is addicted to stories. We make them up all the time, and we can easily be taken in by them. Once we latch on to a story, be it a religious narrative or a conspiracy theory, it's hard to give up, so we need to be wary of the power of story." We encounter this regularly in our modern world that is simultaneously globally connected and deeply divided. We live in the same reality, yet hold seemingly intractably different interpretations of that reality. Our minds, emotions, and actions are molded by the stories we most frequently ingest. Theological stories and moral tales, news articles and news networks, fiction and nonfiction, TV, movies, sports. It's a new take on the old phrase, "we are what we eat." And when we latch onto or are taken in by a false or incomplete narrative, we create solutions to problems that won't work, maybe don't exist. We accept the status quo as the best way things could possibly be. And given the complexity of our world, even just each of us individually, all of our narratives are incomplete summaries of reality. This does give us some room to find and lift up stories that lead to more hope, justice, and equity. Black lawyer, activist, and professor Brian Stevenson offers 4 rules for achieving peace and justice. Number 1, getting proximate to the marginalized. Number 2, changing the narrative from one of fear and anger. Number 3, staying hopeful about creating justice even when it's complicated. And 4, being willing to do uncomfortable things. We'll take a moment with number 2, change the narrative from one of fear and anger. In a speech at the Harvard Kennedy School, Stevenson said, "We're going to have to change these American narratives. We have mass incarceration in America because we declared a misguided war on drugs. We said that people who are drug addicted and drug dependent are criminals. For alcoholism, we said that's a disease. We have a different framework. But for addiction and dependency, we said those are criminals, and we've locked up hundreds of thousands of people. Now, I think that the narrative has to change, because I think what that has allowed us, what that has made us comfortable with, is those policy choices, which I call the politics of fear and anger. And I'm here to tell you that if we allow ourselves to be governed by fear and anger, we're going to tolerate things we're not supposed to tolerate. That's how you get comfortable with inequity. That's how you get comfortable with injustice. That's how you get comfortable abusing people in ways that are clearly indecent and wrong. You do it because you've been given a narrative of fear and anger that makes you think that that's justifiable. What's another narrative then? One that isn't based in fear and anger. Activists and healthcare providers who utilize harm reduction practices when working with those experiencing addiction have been sharing a different narrative about those whom they serve. That addiction is a public health crisis, that addiction is not a moral failing, but a chemical dependency, and that those with the disease of addiction and those in relationship with them will be happier and healthier if our society offers non-judgmental support and services. This is a narrative of hope and compassion, and best of all, it's true. This narrative brings about more happily ever afters than mass incarceration does. I first heard the term narrative justice storytelling at last year's National General Assembly, the annual June gathering of Unitarian Universalists from across the country. One of the panelists at this session, Arab American UU Muslim minister and activist Reverend Ranwa Hamami, explained that narrative strategy uses the narrative to convey core values, to illustrate power dynamics around an issue, and put forth a vision that is rooted in those core values. This strategy amplifies stories that inspire us to specific actions of justice and equity. And this strategy counters prevalent narratives that sustain systemic oppression, violence, fear, anger, mass incarceration, and division in our world. Sometimes narrative justice looks like reflecting on and adapting, changing old stories. And sometimes narrative justice simply looks like lifting up untold stories, lifting up fresh stories. The book we'll hear later this month, Big, by Vashti Harrison, is the first book written by a Black woman to win the prestigious Caldecott Medal for Children's Literature, an award that has been given annually since 1938. It won last month. Similarly, for 30 years, the Cooperative Children's Book Center at the University of Wisconsin School of Education has been analyzing new books for children and teens annually to track how many have a BIPOC lead or supporting character. In its latest year of published data collection, 2022, a third of the new books analyzed featured leading characters of color. In contrast, in their first year of data collection, 1994, only 8% of the books prominently featured a character of color. So we're on an upward trend. And all of us can take part in thoughtfully and joyfully lifting up stories of diversity, equity, and inclusion for all ages. It starts young. Using story to motivate ourselves and others in our work for justice is crucial. Euro-American UU activist LaVonna Grow works for the Unitarian Universalists for Social Justice, an organizing collaborative based in Washington, D.C. In a presentation on how to effectively lobby elected officials, she explained that conventional rhetoric tries to convince people with facts. They may argue with you if you even have the slightest variance from their set of facts, and we know variance in facts is a major problem these days. However, stories that are simple, real, relatable, emotive, heartfelt, inspiring, memorable, Those stories are much more effective at motivating someone to shift their understanding and to take action. People are attracted to and influenced by stories. We want to know in a given narrative who is the protagonist. What's the context and the conflict? How have others made choices that have made a difference? How do we each fit into a hopeful narrative of justice and peace? Jewish American activist, organizer, and educator Professor Marshall Gans drew from his faith when developing his organizing strategy and public narrative. Gans was inspired by a quote from 1st century CE Jewish leader and scholar Hillel the Elder, who asked, "If I am not for myself, who will be? And if I am for myself alone, what am I? And if not now, when?" Myself, community, now. Gans wrote, "Leadership, especially leadership on behalf of social change, often requires telling a new public story or adapting an old one, a story of self, a story of us, and a story of now. Story of self communicates the values that move us to lead. A story of us communicates values shared by those whom we hope to motivate to join us. And a story of now communicates the urgent challenge to those values that demands action now." At First Parish, we see many urgent challenges in our local and national communities: racial injustice, anti-LGBTQ legislation, xenophobia, economic inequality, ongoing violence and warfare, and the climate crisis. If we hope to be leaders in justice, one of the tools in our toolkit is to use the power of storytelling ethically. We can amplify stories that have not been well understood or even repressed by dominant institutions. We can build relationships with other people and communities across identity differences. We can remain humble and attentive to new advancements in science and understandings of history. And we can tell the truth, being careful not to lie directly or by omission. And we can remember that being Unitarian Universalist means something, that we share the values of the inherent dignity and worthiness of every person, and that we covenant to create and nurture sustainable relationships of care and respect, mutuality and justice throughout the interdependent web of all existence. Could we each pay a little closer attention this week, this month, to the stories we're hearing, that we're ingesting? Could we notice whose story is being told and by whom? Could we notice which stories engender fear and which engender hope? Can we amplify those hopeful stories, true stories? An affirmation of hope from Black UU lay leader, activist, and sociology professor, Dr. Loretta Williams. We, the bearers of the dream, affirm that a new vision of hope is emerging. We pledge to work for that community in which justice will be actively present. We affirm that there is struggle yet ahead, yet we know that in the struggle is the hope for the future. We affirm that we are co-creators of the future, not passive pawns, and we rise united in affirmation of our hope and vision of a just and inclusive society. We affirm the unity of all persons. We affirm siblinghood that allows us to touch upon each other's humanity. We affirm a unity that opens our eyes, ears, and hearts to see the different but common forms of oppression, suffering, and pain. Yet, we are one in the image of God, and we celebrate our hopes for human unity. Within ourselves and within gathered community, we will discover the strength not to hide in indifference, affirming that hope, publicly expressed, energizes and enables us to move forward. Together, we pledge action to transcend barriers, be they racial, political, economic, social, or religious. We pledge to make our tomorrows become our todays. To this we pledge our hearts and deeds. May we one day, with all other beings, live happily ever after. Blessed be, and amen. Our closing hymn is Lift Every Voice and Sing, also known as the Black National Anthem. It was first performed as a poem in 1900 by 500 black children in a segregated school in commemoration of President Abraham Lincoln's birthday. It was written by black writer, attorney, and professor James Weldon Johnson and set to music by his brother, composer Rosamond Johnson. Please rise in body or in spirit and join in singing Lift Every Voice and Sing. The lyrics are in your orders of service on screen and at number 149 in your gray hymnals.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. Stormy the road we trod, bitter the chasing rod, fell in the days when hope unborn had died. Yet with the steady beat have not our weary feet gone to the place for which our fathers sighed. We have gone over a way that with tears has been watered. We have come treading our path through the blood of the Psalter. Out from the gloomy past till now we stand at last, where the white gleam of our bright star is cast. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, Thou who hast brought us thus far on a way, Thou who hast by Thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in the path we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met Thee, lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget Thee. Shadow beneath Thy hand, may we forever stand, true to our God, true to our native land.
We've got a few announcements before we close our service. Please join us for social hour in Parish Hall or in our online Zoom room. During social hour, if you're here, you can visit the budget drive table and say hi to our amazing team and also learn how to make a difference in our church life. Join in the conversation about the war in Gaza today at 12:30. It will be online. And the Caregiver Support Group is also meeting today at 1 p.m. At 3, we'll be holding a book discussion of the book Genderqueer by Maya Kobabe. I always get M's name wrong. One of the most banned books in the United States, so please join that conversation. It will be a good one. Homegrown Coffee next Saturday will be featuring Dawn White, and Chris and Meredith Thompson will be opening. And as always, we have our regular weekly events of Fleet Feet on Wednesdays, Writing Escapes, Vesters, and Meditation Ministries on Thursday, and then on Friday, Creative Escapes. And now, we always extinguish our chalice with words promising to carry its flame in our hearts until we are all together again, no matter how long it is until we are all together again. Please join me from home or here in the building in saying these words written by UU minister, Reverend Elizabeth Sally Jones. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, nor the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
As we close our service today, take these words from Black UU minister and former denominational president, Reverend Dr. Bill Sinkford, with you as a benediction. Spirit of life and love, dear God of all nations, there is so much work to do. We have only begun to imagine justice and mercy. Help us hold fast to our vision of what can be. May we see the hope in our history and find the courage and the voice to work for that constant rebirth of freedom and justice. That is our dream. Our service begins when our service ends. Blessed be, and amen.